How many spoken word poets has your algorithm recommended to you from Rwanda? You that is in the midst or in the center of a critique. It can't work that way. Every expression has its capitalized. How many musicians have your TikTok algorithm recommended to you? There's a story of a person I admire a lot. He said that even with his intelligence and everything that he had, he wanted to become a artist. So your exposure influences your imagination. Your exposure influences what you see for yourself, what you want. It redefines your taste.
True. Hello everyone, welcome to Deep Dive Podcast. My name is Rubric Letus and I'm so excited to have every one of you on this podcast again today. First and foremost, before anything, I want to appreciate everyone who took time to see the last episode, your comments, subscription, contribution. I'm super excited, I'm super grateful for the time and attention you pay on this little work that we are doing here. And let me say this before we start today's podcast. Somebody sent me a DM and she said my voice is soothing. Like, I was so happy. So I think that's a lot of encouragement to boost my morale and the confidence towards doing it. Because sometimes you don't even know the amount of challenges I will get to face. Time, constraint, resources, and many things that comes with putting all of this together. But to God be the glory, we're having the third edition, right? And so let's get into it. Last episode, we started a conversation on parts and patterns, right? And I remember mentioning at the beginning of the episode I was going to have a guest to join us on today's episode. And this person is someone special to me. I'm sure he does not know, but it's okay. It's someone special to me, and is that person that I look forward to having a conversation with because we kind of resonate on the same frequency. And trust me, his level of intelligence is way out of this world. By the end of this podcast, you understand that I am not just capping, right? It is just what it is. His level of wisdom is out of this world, and it's a pleasure to have with me Divine Okonta. I call him Pantera. No, I call him Panther. Man, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Always.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so we'll dive right into today's conversation. So let me start by saying this. Last episode, we started the parts and patterns conversation, and I remember saying a lot of things regarding this topic. If you are just meeting or just coming across this podcast for the first time, please go back and watch parts and patterns episode 1 so that you can understand the context of the conversation, because we're picking it up from that point, right? At some point in that conversation, I listed a whole number of factors that influences parts and patterns. I remember mentioning family upbringing. I mentioned school. I mentioned environment. I mentioned culture and religion. I think about 5, but that's what I can remember right now that I listed in that episode. So one of the key things I want to do today is to put more flesh to that conversation, especially around factors that influence parts and patterns. And if time permits, at some point, we'll also look at how one can break out of an existing pattern that you are conscious of. Because I believe that one of the first phases to any form of deliverance is self-awareness.
Yeah.
So when you are aware, it is easy for you to come out of it. So let's dive right into today's conversation. So first and foremost, I know you saw the last episode. So what do you think?
The last episode was, I think it was the groundwork to understand this episode, because you kind of added a little foundation structure to the meaning of what paths and patterns, what they represent in our lives, how it is behavioral, how it is largely spiritual. And by spiritual, I mean metaphysical. And this episode is how we are going to piggyback on that in a very, very efficient way. Yeah.
Interesting. So, to start the conversation, let me ask you, among the 4 factors I listed, is there anyone you think I probably missed or you would want to double down on?
What were the factors?
4 factors.
Environment,
family upbringing, environment, religion and culture, academic background or school, or the
religion and culture are 2 different things. What? Yeah, religion and culture.
So religion and culture actually bridges together.
Yeah.
First, because culture is a way of life, and one of the things that influences the way of life of most people. Let me use the African system for context sake. Is religion. You can't separate the way of life of most Africans, most Nigerians, from religion, right? Yeah. So either you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, whatever you worship. I personally think Africans are religion fanatics, right? To a very large extent. So religion shapes a large part of our way of life, right? So that's why I
agree. Religion is intertwined with our culture. I agree. So they do seem different because we had a culture before the entrance of religion, right? And that is still in us, even though we take in religion as our way of life. We did have a culture. But religion is intertwined with culture, so I understand why you bring them together. I think everything, the list you give kind of covers it, but I guess what I would add is a more subterranean level, which is things like genetics, things like spirit, things like conditioning. Right, so these are like the infrastructure that leads to all of these things. So, family, culture, tradition, religion, school, all of these things, they make up conditioning. But there is genetics, which is the family side, and which is nature versus nurture. Genetics is nature. Then the social construct is nurture.
So are you saying that patterns are hereditary?
Yeah, they are very genetic.
Also,
I think that, let me put it like this. There are things that we are genetically predisposed to. So, outside social conditioning, there are things that we are genetically predisposed to. Let's say our skin, for example, black skin. We are black because we have more melatonin, so it's why we have black skin. It means that we have more resistant skin when we are exposed to the sun than people of other races. But you see, that genetic predisposition influences our lives in ways that we might not see. It's not very apparent, but it does decide the way of our lives. There are some things that a person of a different race will take into consideration that we don't. I mean, if I enter sun, I will come out back. It doesn't mean anything. I don't need to think of sunscreen. I don't need to think of any of those things. I enter the sun, I come out. Of course, we do need sunscreen, in harsh conditions, but it's not something we think about because because of our genetic predispositions. Another thing is, Africans are genetically predisposed to a special kind of intelligence, which is I can't remember the name of the intelligence, but it's the intelligence that athletes have. People that know how to use their body, they understand, they have this ingrained proprioception where they know how to move their body.
Yeah.
It just comes naturally to us. It's very rare you find somebody that doesn't know how to dance that is an African.
I don't.
I mean, you are like, but it's hard to find like round almost all Africans, we all know how to dance because we have this innate intelligence to use our body, how to use our body and how it interacts with space, with the space that we are in. So these are the genetic predispositions that we have. Now, genetic predisposition can be more narrower. It can be in a family line. Like, let's say this family line, we all have a genetic predisposition for insulin resistance.
Okay.
So we are more likely to get diabetes than any other family. Do you understand?
Okay.
So the things that people will do, and it will take more time, it will take more duration for them to get diabetes. Us and our family, if we do it, diabetes is knocking on the door. Do you understand what I mean? I don't understand the intricacies of the science, but I've met families like that. So yeah, there are genetic predispositions that determine the flow of our lives. So it can be genetic, and then before we move to, it's in nature before we move to nurture. So that's after that we get to conditioning.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so to twist the conversation a little bit, I know I've had conversations around how that the level of exposure that you have in some way determines your actualizations or determines even your aspirations in life, because it's in very rare conditions you see people who have the ability to dream beyond what they, in fact, it's not in any situation. You can't dream beyond what you know about its existence.
Yeah.
So dream is a function of the knowledge that you have at your disposal. So I would like you to narrow a little bit down how that environment plays a key part in deciding the destinies of an individual.
Environment, exposure. Okay. When I talk about exposure, there's this thing I say where it's like, exposure determines what you want. Environment determines what you crave.
Okay.
So, let me give you an example. I can't have a vision to be someone like Steve Jobs if I don't know of Steve Jobs. If I'm in a remote island somewhere, and it's like the only thing I have to the outside world is a radio, for example, and that radio has limited channels. Let's say it has like 4 channels. One is banging jam rock. Welcome to jam rock. Another one is a local station that they talk about relationships, and then the rest is news. But the news is not. It's like just one of those superficial news stations. Okay. That's the only this thing I have, channel I have to the outside world. Yeah. There is no way I think I would. There's no way I would have the thought or the imagination to become Steve Jobs. It doesn't happen because I'm not exposed to it. In fact, look at our lives. When we were children, when our exposure was a little more narrow, the things we imagined, the things we wanted, are the things that we were exposed to. There's a story of a person I admire a lot. He said that even with his intelligence and everything that he had, he wanted to become a cultist. And to each their own. If you want to be a cultist, it's
it's your way.
It's but to be a cultist is there's a lot of sacrifice you have to make, which might take your life.
True.
But he wanted this. Now he's a big time person. But he wanted this at this point in his life because it was what he was exposed to. Right? So your exposure influences your imagination. Your exposure influences what you see for yourself, what you want. It redefines your taste.
True.
Do you understand? So the thing now is that while exposure redefines what we want, environment dictates what we crave. There's a difference between while exposure, determines what we want. environment dictates what we crave. So it's like, I'm exposed to Steve Jobs because I watched an interview, or I watched a speech he was giving at university, and I'm like, I want to be that person. Like, crazy, I really want to be Steve Jobs. But then you go back to your environment, and your environment has conditioned you to be a graphic designer that works for a print shop somewhere.
Okay.
And this is because you are making some money. Your whole entire family is saying, "This is my son I am proud of." Do you understand? Now it will be hard for you to elevate because you are already your environment has conditioned you to crave the venture of graphic design in such a minimal level.
Yeah.
Right? You have become comfortable. It has conditioned you to become comfortable. Whatever we expose ourselves to over and over, we become comfortable. It's like a normal human law. And then when we do that, we start to crave that comfort. Because we don't need to think about, that's one of the things about habits. Why they are hard to break is because they are comfortable. The cognitive load we need for thinking about how to do a thing, or not knowing what to do, or being uncertain, it's done when you've developed a habit for something. When you have a habit for something now, it's automatic, it's efficient. It is like second nature. So your environment can play that role in your life too. The place that you are in, where you are small, it can become comfortable. And what happens when your brain finds something comfortable? It fights any notion of more. I don't need more, I'm okay. Right? So, one is exposure. You need to know what is out there. You need to be exposed to different things. Another thing is the environment, which we'll go deeper into later. But if your environment, and you've remained in that environment for long, it conditions you into comfort. And you start to crave that environment. You start to crave the way things happen, the modus operandi. You start to crave it. Even though you don't want it. You cannot want something and still crave it. Right? There are many let's take, for example, the person that is struggling with sugary drinks like what do they call them? What is the technical term for that? Soda. People that crave those things, if you have a conversation with them, there is a shame that they spew their hatred for it with. Like they will say, I really want to stop Pepsi. I hate Pepsi with, I want to stop it, like it has put me in a chokehold and I want to stop. And then you're like, but you just drank 2 bottles though. What are you talking about? I said, yes, I know. It's something I want to stop. Okay. Sure, we've had you. Right? So there is the wanting another thing or wanting something better, and there is like craving what is already there.
As you are speaking, there are different influx of ideas, right? And in as much as I'm trying to see how we can remain on this conversation, I want to just touch on something. One of the key things I've come to experience, and I think I've said this out before, is that most times we have people who are dealing with what they don't want more than people who actually understand what they want. Because we deceive ourselves to think that because I don't want this, automatically I'm supposed to want the opposite of this. Let me broaden it a little bit. Somebody said that I don't want how ladies say things about guys. I don't want this kind of a guy. I don't want a guy who does not know how to love me. I don't want a guy who does not know how to treat a woman right. I don't want a narcissistic man and all of. So at the end, she said something like, even though I don't know what I want, I know what I don't want. I'm like, come on. Come on, man. So
you know the hell that you are running from, but you don't know the hell
you want to run to.
Okay.
So I think that most times we have people in this space. You think you know what you want, but if you really sit down to think about it, man, you don't know what you want.
You know the funny thing about that? Whatever your focus directs itself at is what you will attract.
True. Yeah.
So
yeah,
if
yeah,
you
true.
focus on what you don't want,
Mm-hmm.
sure you don't want it, but that's what you will get. do you remember that this thing in the Bible where Peter was called to come and walk on? He saw Jesus coming and he was like,
Yeah.
Jesus, if it's you, tell me to come now. He said, come. Then he came. He left out of his. He alighted from the boat and he was walking on the sea.
Okay.
But the thing that the Bible noted is that he was looking at Jesus. Sure, that's cute.
Then it was stable.
He was walking and walking and he was going and the only time he made notice of the boisterous wind sank. Now you will say, what is wrong with looking at the boisterous wind? It was there and it was fearful. That's true, sure. But the thing about focus is that it gets you what you look at, not what you want. So it's like it is the thing you pay attention to that will be attracted to you. Do you know of the black coffee theory? There's this coffee.
Wait. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. In a particular country that they wanted to get people to like the coffee.
No, that's even you are going. Yeah, you are
I'm going very far.
I'm talking about the theory. I don't know how substantial the theory is, but I saw it in passing and I thought it was profound. A girl enters a coffee shop.
Okay.
And when it's time for her to place her order, she was like, I don't know what I want, but I just want black coffee. I don't want black coffee, sorry.
So any other
thing, just don't give me black coffee, don't give me black coffee, don't give me black coffee. And then the person in charge, the barista, was like, oh sure, no worry. Went inside, got distracted by something, and then when they remembered the person got the order, what she remembered is not I don't want. It's remembered black coffee. So what that kind of surmised for me is like, you don't get what you want, you get what you focus on. You get what you focus on. So yeah. That you said just reminded me of that. So show that in there.
Because most people, and when I say most people, I mean a large number of people, maybe common to Nigerians, just maybe.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the larger part of my relationship has to do with Nigerians. And I've interacted with people a lot of times to figure out that many people don't know what they want. If you ask someone what do you want from life, you'll be surprised that what they'll be telling you are the things they don't want. They don't know what they want.
Yeah. And
as long as you have that inability of laying your hands on what exactly that you want, you will most likely not get it. People say, oh, I don't want to be poor. Okay? So if you don't want to be poor, automatically you want me to believe that because you don't want to be poor, you want to be rich.
Yeah.
And even if you want to reach, what is the context of that wealth?
Riches.
That exactly the riches or the wealth? What's the context of it? So these are things that many people don't really get to talk about, and man, it just ran into my head, so I just thought to put it out there.
The issue I have with this thing you just said is that the way life is, especially in Nigeria, let's talk of Nigeria, is that the reason why I don't think is the thing is we don't know what we want. Because exposure, makes want apparent. It's when you are exposed, okay, this is what I want, right?
Okay.
When you are poor, you see riches. Oh, I want riches. I want something more, right? Or you see a beautiful couple, you are like, I want a relationship. But I think that people know what they want, or at least they can get to know what they want.
Okay.
What the problem is that they are too distracted by what they
don't want.
And like I said, the focus is the thing. It's not just your preference. Your preference is cute, it's nice, but it's the focus. It's like I don't want to be poor. Sure, but you are saying you don't want to be poor. You're not saying you want to be rich, though. And also, if you want to be rich, what are you going to have to do? Sacrifice, dedicate to be rich?
That's another question.
That is the question. That's what you should be saying. Not that I don't want to be poor. Who wants to be poor? Right? You know, you say this year is your year. Sure, of course it's your year. Sure, but like, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the fact that you don't want this year to be like last year, or are you saying I want this year to be better and there are things I need to do, there are things I need to focus on to make this year better? So I don't think people don't know what they want. I think that the cacophony of distraction is too much. That distraction of what they don't want is too much that they, you know, their focus is dispersed.
So literally, you are saying that what people should focus on what they want so much more that focus causes blindness
to every other thing. God bless you for that. You just put it in a better way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to environment.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long time.
So back to environment.
Yeah.
So another part I want to touch on is how that, because I love what you said about the power of environment to influence our cravings. Because I have a similar story to the story that you shared, and this is actually a popular figure. I don't want to mention it, but it's a popular figure, so I'll just keep the name to myself. So he said that years ago, before he got into the space of what he's doing today. Today is a global brand focused on leadership training, and all of that across Africa and even and otherwise. So he said that when he was growing up, while he was in the village, his dream every day is to become a chief priest. His dream is to become a chief priest. And the reason being that there was something in him that was craving for leadership. So having said all this, my question is this: what can you say, and how do you think environment, or what role do you think environment plays in determining the destiny of an individual?
That's a beautiful question, and bro, I don't think there's anything that matters in the destiny of a person than their environment. Genetics is there, yes, and we'll get into that further into the episode, but environment is like, it's the
hallmark.
It's one of the main hallmarks of a great person, of a great destiny. It's like, let's use an example of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was thrusted into stardom at the young age of 10, 11. He was in the capital of entertainment, which is America. You that is in the midst or in the center of a kitty, it can't work that way, because Jero said this thing. Jero said that every expression has its capital, right? So every single expression that you have, everything, the talent you have, the giftings you have, they all have a particular environment that will make it thrive, right? So it's like the parable of the sower, where he was throwing seeds, everywhere. He was trying to throw seeds and all of those things. And when the seeds dropped on soil that had thorns, when they tried to germinate, they were destroyed. The ones that fell on rocky ground, those ones just stayed there and just withered away. Then it was the ones that dropped on fertile soil, those were the ones that germinated. Environment is so important because, number one, environment helps you with exposure.
Okay, true.
That was one of the things we talked about. True. Exposure, environment helps you with that. And two, environment helps you, the potential that you are looking for. There is an environment that will make it thrive. There is a potential you have not seen. Because you say, I have this potential, and the things that inform our potential are the things that we have seen. The reason why you think you have the potential to be a great singer is because you have seen Michael Jackson. So that is there. But your potential is just unused energy. And there is an environment that is an incubation for that energy, for it to become tactile, for it to become a real thing,
Tangible.
for it to become your capability, from your potential to your capability. There is an environment that you need to be in, that you need to grow in for that to happen. So environment is like it's as important as the want itself. If you do not, you want to be a singer like Michael Jackson. I keep using Michael Jackson, it's one of my idols. You want to be a singer like Michael Jackson? Okay, sure. But you can't be a singer you want to be a singer like Michael Jackson, but you can't be a singer like Michael Jackson in Ondo.
Okay.
For you to attain global dominance, you have to go to the capital where your music can attain that kind of global dominance. Right? So, environment is the end all be all. Messi, the greatest of all time, another one of my idols.
And who says it's not Ronaldo?
You know what? Let's table this conversation because we're going to fight on camera. So let's just table the conversation. I'm joking, but what I'm saying in essence, Messi is the GOAT. Anyway, you can have your own GOAT. But Messi was able to be as great as he was because he was in the environment where he was scouted by Barcelona scouts. There are many Messis in Nigeria, I promise you. People that they are not just skilled. God gave them ball in their womb, in the womb of their mother, and say, go and play.
True.
Like there's one of that person in my school. That guy is Jesus Christ in my secondary school. That guy is I don't think I have seen. Oh my God! When he holds the ball, when he's playing the ball, all of us will just like, because if you go and attack him one on one, you will fall. So it's like Samson don't hold ball, leave and make it go score. Let's do these things. So there are people that are, I wouldn't say in the level of Messi, but there are people that were they were predisposed genetically. The way their body was made to play football. I use made in a very loose sense, but let's use it like that. Made to play football, and then they couldn't attain half of what Messi attained. Not because they were not talented, but because of where they were born, the environments that they were in.
But I saw something I want us to touch on. I'll come back there because it has to do with social media, so I think we'll have that as its own conversation. But then, we live in the 21st century, right? Well, we believe that the world is a global village, and whatsoever, like my mentor would say that privacy the word private has been redefined. Because before, when you say you want to be in a private space, maybe you want to be in your room all alone, right? Then you say you're in a private space. Then when you say you're in a public space, it means you're in a place where every other person can see you. But right in today's world, you can be in your room, but you are not observing privacy. Because, okay, for instance, you are in your room and you go live on Instagram. Automatically, privacy has been redefined. You over 1,000 people or more can be observing you, watching you, seeing what you are doing, and that is possible because of the presence of internet, right? Which is the age, or I think we are in the age of artificial intelligence now. So, don't you think that this idea of because environment you are talking about now is from the point of change of physical location, if I'm getting you correctly, right? Even though I understand, which is somewhere I'll still go, how that social media has its own some sort of environment in a way which would break down in a bit. But can't I do whatsoever I want to do, be where I want to be, Ekiti, Ondo, Asaba, wherever, and still attain that global dominance without having to leave my place of residence. Because people will argue this.
Yeah.
There are one or two persons who have been able to get global recognition right from where they are.
Yeah.
They didn't have to leave their place of residence. So
Yeah.
how do you come
You
at
say
that?
they attain global domination from where they were. Global domination or global recognition.
Recognition.
Okay. How many? This is like an exercise. How many musicians have your TikTok algorithm recommended to you from Lesotho?
Okay.
How many spoken word poets has your algorithm recommended to you from Rwanda?
True. Okay.
The people that make it that garner global recognition from their home or from wherever they were, they're the exception, they're not the rule. For one person that garnered global recognition, there are a million people that did the same thing and they were not recognized. This is a cutthroat game. This thing about we are talking about, it doesn't care about your hard work. It does not care about your work ethic. It's more of, are you in the environment that we increase? You see, this is the thing about when people talk about destiny. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but when people talk about destiny, they think of it as a script that has been written for you.
Yeah.
So like,
let's get to that part.
this is what has been written in the stars. You will be great. Then if you are poor, it was written that you'll be poor. So that is how we think of destiny.
Okay.
And when you introduce religion, the prevailing mindset is that, sure, maybe my destiny is going this way, but God has rewritten my destiny for me to be great. I understand how that supposition has prevailed for almost a millennia. It's how people understand destiny as a whole. But how I understand destiny is that it is the likelihood and the variable that it is contingent on. The variables that make for that probability, for the likelihood of that thing to happen. So if Messi, the likelihood for Messi to become who Messi is now was there. The variables were there. Right? The likelihood for Denzel Washington to be Denzel Washington, it was there. There were a lot of variables in place. A lot of things that had to happen before he became Denzel Washington. There are a lot of Denzel Washington in Africa. They don't have half of what he has. Because the variables that were needed for his greatness, that was needed for their greatness, was non-existent.
So you are saying that movement is non-negotiable? It's not
just that it's non-negotiable, it's that it is the platform at which we are negotiating is. It's like there is no, except you want to go against the grain and luck might shine on you, happenstance might happen. But if you want your greatness to be more likely, there are variables that has to be in place. So when you say, sure, I can attain global recognition from the couch in my house, it's possible, but it's not probable. Especially where you are. If you are in a remote village inside Delta, that's not happening.
That's my state. Be careful.
My state too. It's my state too. There's a the likelihood that it's going to happen is in the negative. Now somebody might overturn that odds and become. But how many other people have failed before you saw
that doesn't make it a principle.
It doesn't make it a principle. Gravity, there's the law of gravity. Yes, sure, yes. But there are some places where gravity doesn't work. The effect of gravity is not seen. But it is the law. You can't now judge the law of gravity due to the effect of not seeing the effect in certain places. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the exception is not the rule. There's a rule for a reason. Environment is one of the rules for if you are pursuing greatness, if you are pursuing more, if you want to evolve, you need to change your environment. You need to. If you are in the environment that is not working for your growth, you need to change. And environment is not just place. But I guess you